friends. It is now August 2nd, and I was vaguely toying with the idea a couple of days ago of trying to vlog daily this month for the Summer Fling Readathon that is a romance readathon. And I thought it would be really fun to vlog daily. And I was going to do it, and I was going to try to read a book a day. That didn't work already on August 1st. As you can see from the little montage that hopefully I put in here, I took a trip with my family about 2.5 hours away to help my cousin set up her very first classroom for her very first teaching job. She's going to have to move. So, it's a long process because, like I said, we all live about 2.5 hours away from where she will be living and teaching. So we had to take a couple of road trips over this last long weekend to kind of get her room all set up and try to find an apartment. So it was a long day. So I decided I would just do my normal weekly vlogs. So on the reading front, I started Chocolat by Joanne Harris. And this I think going to use this for the hot and spicy prompt because I watched the movie years ago and I found that to be pretty steamy. So I'm hoping that this book kind of gets there, and I think it will. It's already, like, I would call it sensual because it's about a chocolatier in France, and she is considered to be a witch. And I'm not sure. I think there's TVs and stuff, so it's not really like set in the way back past, but it's maybe like in the 50s or something. But she's considered to be a witch. She is an unwed mother, so she's like transient gypsy kind of a thing that the very conservative Christian community that she moves into to open her chocolate shop does not really appreciate. So it's at this point, it's all about her trying to win the town over. But I believe soon there will be a sexy man, and who in my head will always remain Johnny Depp. So I'm excited to get to that. But like I said, I was doing a lot of classroom setup yesterday, so I didn't get a lot of this read, but more than I thought, surprisingly. I am also starting to read the book Maurice or Maurice. I'm never really sure how that's supposed to be pronounced, but it's by E.M. Forster, and I am buddy reading that with my friend Joe Smith, and we are trying to read through all of E.M. Forster's canon. I don't know if we'll do it all this year, but I'm trying to get through all of E.M. Forster's works. So Joe and I read A Room with a View a couple months ago, and we decided we would do Maurice this month. So this is a gay novel because E.M. Forster was gay. And, at that time, that was not very acceptable. So he wrote mainly, things involving men and women and social commentary type things throughout most of his career. But this is the one book that he wrote that I think kind of chronicles? That's the word I'm looking for. Chronicles his own journey to coming to terms with his sexuality. I think. I need to read up on that more. So far, the main protagonist, Maurice, is not very likable. I find him to be pretty pathetic. Like, just meh. Like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's not, the book itself, the plot is not really grabbing me. It goes through his early years, and I'm assuming, it's going to go through his whole life. It's a short book, But the writing style is a little bit more stilted than I'm used to from Forster. I feel like it jumps around a lot. It is supposed to go back and forth in his life, but I feel like it's not really working for me in this, and there's a lot of random characters that go in and out of his life. Um, but then the other thing is, I listened to Room with a View, and I forget which other one we read that we listened to. But so this one I cannot find on audiobook, so I've just been physically reading it, and I'm wondering if that is kind of not working for me right now. But we'll see. I was distracted a lot yesterday, so maybe in today's reading I will get a little bit more into it. We'll see. Hello, friends. I am here with a little update. It is still Monday. It is after work, and I finished a book, an audiobook, and it's one that I haven't talked about yet. And I decided to pick up To Have and to Hoax by Martha Waters. And I had first heard about this from, I believe, Katie over at Books and Things, because she was going to read it for Jane Austen July, because it is set in the Jane Austen Regency time period. So this story, it follows. I wasn't really sure what prompt I was going to use it for, because I just didn't know anything about it other than it was set in Regency time, and it focuses on a husband and wife who have been estranged for about, I think it said, 4 years over a misunderstanding, a miscommunication, one argument, and they have basically been living under the same roof sometimes, but they barely speak. And he goes off to the country house a lot, and basically it all stems from one argument. And that seems to be a romance trope, because I remember when I read Romance Book Club, it was like that. It was a husband and wife who had one disagreement, one misunderstanding, and they just refused to talk about it. And I don't really like that trope, because it just seems so maddening that they just can't, they're married and they can't just sit down and have a conversation. But I liked this one because it was like extremely self-aware that what these two people were doing was completely stupid. And everyone around them kept saying, why don't you just talk to him? Why don't you have a conversation with her? What the heck is going on? Why are you doing this to each other? Because they're basically trying to trick the other one into apologizing the whole time. And it gets really convoluted, and it's funny. It was hilarious. But yeah, it kind of did go on a little too long. Like, there was a point in which I figured it was resolved, they were back together, and then something else happened, and they got mad at each other again. And it was just like, oh, okay, we're still gonna do this. So, and for probably the first half of the book, there was like suggestive elements, but it was not like overt sexual stuff. But then it got into the sexual stuff, and there probably wasn't a ton, but for me, it was more so than I usually care to read about. I did listen to it, and I was at work when I was listening to these sexy times happen. I don't recommend that. It was weird. I mean, I did have my earphones in, but I'm just like, well, this is awkward. But yeah, it wasn't bad, but it was just more than I needed to read. But I know this about myself. And but overall, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was funny. The husband and wife. There was a man doing the husband's voice, and he was really good. I liked him a lot, and the woman was pretty good too. But the man just was really very funny, and just you could just tell he definitely has a dry British sense of humor that I enjoy. So, yeah, so I really liked it. I didn't rate it yet. I figured I would kind of wait until I have a couple more of these kind of romances under my belt to see like what I actually like and what I don't like. And I also just feel like I can't rate things like this because I don't really enjoy reading about, like the acts of sex. But I also understand that that is what I'm reading in romances, and that's what they usually are. So I feel like I can't really rate it low for that because I should know that that's going to be a strong element in most regular romances unless it's a super clean, like Christian romance. So it's hard. I wasn't really sure what to rate it, but probably if I did rate it, I would probably rate it like 3.5 stars because I felt it was really enjoyable, but I felt like it went on too long. So anyway, I did enjoy it, but I'm not really sure that it's going to be a favorite yet, but we'll check back in later. Okay, I'm gonna go read some Maurice or Morris. Decided I should probably start saying it Morris because I guess Maurice would be French. If it was a French book, that would be how I would say it. But if it being English, it's probably Morris. That's what Jo tells me, and Jo is English. So I'm going to try to go with her and call it Morris. So I'm going to try to read some more Morris and then maybe a little bit more Chocolat, which is French. And yeah, I'll check back with you later. Good morning, friends. It is Tuesday. So I'm just popping on here to tell you what I'm going to be focusing on today. Today, I am going to be listening to Sunset in Central Park by Sarah Morgan. It is the second in the Manhattan in Love series. And I read this one a couple months, I mean, I read the first in this series. I still forget what it's called. But I read the first one in the series a couple months ago at the recommendation of Sarah from Steeped in Books, and she thought that I would really like the second one because it focuses on the character of Frankie, who is kind of a man-hater in the first one, and she thought that I would possibly relate to Frankie and her story. I'm using this one for the Summer Fling prompts of Big City Life because it takes place in New York, and also for Friends to Lovers because I read the blurb and this focuses on her longtime friend who she apparently likes but feels like he would never be interested in her. So I'm really excited to listen to this one today. It's about 9 hours, I believe, and I generally listen to books on like 2 times speed. So I might actually be able to get it done today as long as I don't have too many distractions at work. So you know how that goes. And then tonight I am going out to dinner with a friend right after work. And then Sarah and Chloe, I believe, and some other ladies, other romance booktubers, are doing a read with me. So I am going to participate in that tonight so that I can have some dedicated reading time. And I will probably read Chocolat because I've kind of dropped off of that one a little bit, just because I got myself into too many books at one time, and I'm doing a buddy read of Maurice, by E.M. Forster. I'm doing a buddy read of that one, so I've been trying to keep up with that, and it's only in physical form. And I've been listening to audiobooks, and then Chocolat has just kind of gone by the wayside. But I'm really enjoying it. So I think that is going to be my dedicated romance read for the Read With Me tonight. So anyway, I'll check back in with you tonight and let you know how I did today. Hi friends, it is Tuesday after work around 5:30, and as you can see maybe out my window a little bit, I'm sitting in a parking spot about to go in to have dinner with a friend, and I just thought I would give you my reading update. I was actually able to finish the entirety of the audiobook for Sunset in Central Park by Sarah Morgan at work today, and it was really cute. I really liked getting Frankie's story. She is someone who doesn't believe in happy endings, or, love, and she has had bad experiences in her past, both with the men she's been with and with her parents, and she just feels like love is not real, and she feels like anybody who thinks that romance is a real thing, or long-lasting romance is a real thing, is just being silly. So yeah, and of course, she gets her happy ending, of course. So, but yeah, her whole story was kind of relatable to me. One thing that stuck out in my mind is that she has had an ex or somebody tell her that she was a D minus. I guess in bed, I don't know, but a D minus in general. So she just believes that she's not good at relationships. And I have had a guy who wasn't even a boyfriend, but just happened to give me his opinion of me, tell me something similar in the past. So I can relate to her, her issues. So, but yes, that was good. I liked it. It was a little bit cringy at times, some of the things that occurred and some of the things that were said. And yeah, because I am very cynical. So the things that they talk about and the things that they say, I'm like, no, that doesn't happen. But in general, I enjoyed it. So, but now my friend just texted me that she is on her way. So I am going to go. It's raining out, which is cruddy. Of course it waits until I left work to start raining. But yeah, I'm ready to have a good beer and some good conversation. And then I will get on with the rest of my night. All right, I'll talk to you later, friends. Bye. Good morning, friends. It is actually now Saturday morning, and I am just making myself some coffee, and realized last night when I was starting to edit this vlog that I haven't said anything to you since Tuesday evening. Why? So, I have been doing a lot of reading, but I only just yesterday, I believe, actually finished my next book. And actually I just finished one this morning as well. So I finished on, what day was that? Friday. I finished on Friday, Despised and Desired by Bree Wolfe. And this was one that was recommended to me by my friend Angie at Literary Labors for the Prompt of Disability rep, because I had asked on Instagram for a romance that focused on a woman that had a facial deformity, because I know that there's a lot of disability rep where the man has a disability, and of some sort, like either in a wheelchair or, some kind of disfigurement. And there are actually a lot where the man has a facial disfigurement, but there is very little that I can find where the woman is the one. And I thought that that was rather odd because I guess I can kind of see it in that um, the woman traditionally tends to be less visual and maybe more caring. So maybe that just works better for writers to have a woman be kind of the one that um, accepts the man for the way they look. But I didn't want that. I want one where a woman has to worry about a man finding her attractive whenever she has a something about her face that would not be traditionally considered as attractive or hot. So and and this stems from the fact that I have some different birth defects that affect my appearance, um, and I've grown up, you know, thinking that I wasn't pretty and that kind of thing. I mean, I'm kind of over it at this point, but still, it would be nice to see that representation. So, so Angie, said something about this despised and desired, where the woman Elsbeth, who they call Ellie, it's a Regency romance. She has been burned in a fire, and a significant part of her body has been burned and scarred. So this book, I I liked it. It was a little bit cringy at times. Uh, it was definitely a cringy Regency romance, if you ask me. It was a marriage of convenience trope. It was the woman, it still was, even though she was the one with the facial deformity, she was still the one tasked with bringing everyone else around her out of their grief and suffering, which I kind of didn't like. But I mean, it worked. It was basically the idea that despite her suffering, she has been able to rise above it and be happy, even though she had been basically written off as marriageable because of the way she looked. So she had just come to terms with that fact, and she was, just living a life, and she was perfectly happy. She had friends and all that stuff. But then she got into an arranged marriage type of a situation with a family that had a lot of emotional distress. And so I liked it and I didn't like it. I didn't like it because I wanted to see more of her struggle um, with her scars and with feeling like maybe she wasn't good enough. And there was a little bit of that, but I didn't really feel like it was. Um, I didn't really feel like it was genuine. I guess that she would have that she really felt like he didn't care about her, or that she was really self-conscious about it, I guess is what I'm getting at, because I know what it's like to be self-conscious about that, and I didn't feel like she seriously was. So, but overall, I mean, I liked the relationship between the husband and the wife. I liked his character. I thought that the grief and the PTSD that he was suffering from was really well done. And it was maybe a little bit over the top with the guilt he was suffering. But again, I don't really know how that would feel, so I don't really want to say that it was over the top, but it felt over the top. The other thing that um, I wonder about is I was listening to it via audiobook, and the narrator was kind of annoying. She made Ellie the main character very whiny. Not whiny. No, that's not the word. But her voice was very like childish, I guess is the word. So I didn't really get a sense that she was a strong, mature woman who had come to grips with her, the way she looked. She just felt like a child at times. So, yeah, I don't know. It was fine. I think I rated it 3 stars. It was probably 3.5. Just because I'm glad that there is something out there with a female protagonist with some kind of facial issue, but I didn't necessarily think it was that well done. But anyway, the next thing that I just finished this morning was Maurice by E.M. Forster. And this took me a while to get through, and it was short, but I was buddy reading it with my friend Joe Smith. And this is a novel about a gay man in Victorian England. And back then, it was basically illegal to be gay, and at the very least, you were secretive about it. That wasn't acceptable. So it was basically chronicling. I always have trouble with that word. Maurice's journey from the realization that he was gay as a child to, or like a teen, all the way through his like mid-20s, where he, and just all that ensues, and him trying to find love and trying to find acceptance, and just kind of floundering through his life, quite frankly. And Joe and I were talking, and neither one of us thinks that anyone in this book was likable the entire way through until the very end. I didn't even like Maurice. I didn't feel for him. I couldn't sympathize with him, really. I didn't really feel like his emotions were not that they weren't realistic, because I could definitely sympathize with his loneliness, and he has a lover that basically falls out of love with him at one point, and that was a shock to Maurice, and I can identify with that. I think pretty much anybody who's dated can identify with being really in love with somebody and thinking that they feel the same way, and then one day, lo and behold, they don't. And so I definitely could sympathize with him, but his overall demeanor throughout the whole book was very grating, and you just wanted to slap him multiple times and tell him to get over himself. I guess. I don't know. There was a lot of decisions that he made that I would not have made, and just conversations he had with people, and the way he conducted himself in a lot of the circumstances were just very irritating to me. So it wasn't until the very, very end that I felt like, okay, Maurice is going to be okay. But I guess that was the way it was supposed to be, probably. I'm sure it was trying to show that Maurice just didn't really know where his life was headed. And then finally, he comes to grips with his life, and he learns how to be happy and all that stuff. So, but yeah, so I can definitely say that of the Forster I've read so far, which has been Passage to India, Howard's End, A Room with a View, and Maurice. Of the 4 of those, Maurice is on the bottom. I didn't really care for it as far as the writing style. It was flipped back and forth a lot, different perspectives that there were a lot of characters that I didn't really feel like got fleshed out. It wasn't my favorite. It wasn't as satirically funny as I think Forster can be, and I mean, I'm sure it wasn't supposed to be. I'm sure it was supposed to be more of an emotional thing, but yeah, it wasn't my favorite. But I'm glad I read it because I'm trying to get through all of E.M. Forster at some point. I would like to read everything he's written, so there's got to be one in there that is not going to be my favorite. So, but anyway, I think I'm going to wrap up this vlog here because this has been like a 13-minute clip. And I will start a new vlog today for next week because I am going to be starting some new books, and I never did finish Chocolat. I kind of put that aside and haven't finished it yet, so I'm going to try to finish that up this weekend, hopefully. So, but yeah, so I finished 3 books, I think, so far for the Spring Fling Readathon, and I think that's pretty good. It's not as good as I wanted it to be. I was going to try to read a book a day, but then realized pretty quickly that I didn't want to stress myself out about that. So I'm just going to read what I can read and do what I can do. So that's all we can ask, right? But anyway, I hope you have had a good start to your August. And if you're participating in Spring Fling, or Spring Fling? Was that what I was saying? Summer Fling. I knew I was going to mess that up eventually. Summer Fling Readathon. If you're participating in that, let me know down below if you have a vlog or anything for your first week. And let me know what your favorite has been so far. And also, if you have any other disability recommendations for women with some kind of deformity or disability that is maybe that you think is well represented, let me know, because I would like to read that and talk about it on the channel. So it's something that's kind of near and dear to my heart, I guess. So I would like to get more into that. So, all right, I will talk to you in my next video, friends. Bye.